Holy hell, STEPH INFECTION listeners. Thanks again. God damn it. You really make me happy that you're listening to this disgusting podcast of mine. Here are my tour dates. Come see me live, for crying out loud. I'm heading back to the motherland, Canada. I'm in Vancouver doing the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival. Then guess what? I'm doing a big show in LA. Me and my good buddy Pat Burcher are doing a double headline set at Flappers on September 18th. Hilarious name for a club. Come see that if you're in Los Angeles. Then I'm heading to Sacramento, California, the 21st to 23rd. Then I'll be in San Fran at Cobb's. Hey, San Fran, I have fans there. Come see me on the 24th. Then guess what? I'm heading to Madison, Wisconsin, October 5th, 6th, 7th. Still in October, I'm back to Canada, goddammit. I'll be in Calgary at the Laugh Shop the 12th to the 14th. Then I'll be in Vegas at Wise Guys the 20th, 21st. San Diego, La Jolla, I'll be at the Comedy Store the 27th, 29th. And guess what? Here's my big fucking drop. God damn it. I'm coming to Boston. Boston, goddamn Massachusetts. I'll be there. I think I said that wrong. I don't care. I'll be at the Crystal Ballroom on November 12th. Tickets are on sale now. Get them before they are gone. And then don't forget my big Toronto show, December 14th. Oh my fucking God. I am 80% sold out. Guess what? That's not a lot of tickets left. Maybe 200 tickets left. Get your tickets. They're going to go. I don't know why I'm from New York all of a sudden. Thank you. Buy tickets. Bye. Welcome back to STEPH INFECTION listeners. I am still on 3 Benadryls because that's what happens when you have hives every day. Very special guest here today. Hospice nurse Julie is here. Very specific name. I have to say the whole thing properly. Thank you for coming on STEPH INFECTION.
Hey, I love it. I'm so excited to meet you and be here.
Yeah, so you reached out to me, and not a lot of people reach out to me on this podcast. It's usually me hounding down people to be like, do the fucking pod, but you're like, I think I should do this.
I think I should do this. You are hilarious.
Well, thank you so much. I'm not currently right now because I'm delusional, but I normally am pretty funny.
Yeah.
Did you see me on TikTok? How did you?
I think I saw you on Instagram.
Okay.
You were telling a penis story, which I kind of want to know more about. But
which one?
The one where you were like,
which
penis, one? His peen, your words, not mine. His peen didn't smell.
Oh, scentless. Yeah. The pilot. Yeah.
And I want to know. Was it a random? I mean, can we talk about this?
Yes,
no?
Of course.
Was it a random? Like, was it just a pilot that you met on the plane, and he got off the plane, and you?
No, I met him years ago off Tinder.
Okay.
Like years ago, and then we kind of stayed in contact, and then we hooked up. Actually, he came up to see my show a couple nights ago at the
really?
Comedy Store. Yes, but then I drove him to his hotel downtown, and he's like, "Do you want to come in?" I didn't want to look for parking, so I chose. I chose no dicks just so I can not park downtown because I want to get back home. But scentless.
The scentless penis was, I like cracked up over and over again, rewatched it a million times, and then I was like, I want to be on this girl's podcast.
Because you work with a lot of stuff. So
I do work.
So your account is mostly like just talking about like myths and stuff. Like what is your primary like TikTok and Instagram all about?
Yeah, so most of it's about dying, death and dying, because I'm a hospice nurse. Prior to being a hospice nurse, I was an ICU nurse, which I feel like really gives me a pretty good background of like what it's like to try to keep someone alive, right?
Yeah.
And then what it's like when you're not trying to keep someone alive and they die naturally.
Okay.
So that's where my whole podcast my whole social media thing has taken off from there, kind of on its own.
Because you have huge followings on both, don't you? Like
on TikTok I have 1.3 million.
Yeah.
And then on like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook I have 1 million.
Oh shit, that's
YouTube,
crazy.
I have like 200,000. So
it's crazy. You got more than me, motherfucker, and I am talking about penises too, but people like to hear it from you more because it's a pleasant, nice woman, and I'm like, your dick stinks or it doesn't stink, and that's it. Very different vibe.
A senseless peen. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Because it's rare. So you must be
very rare.
And I got a hyper sniffer, so you must be sniffing things.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sensitive to smells.
Yes.
Oddly enough, I'm sensitive, but it's weird. I'm not sensitive. Like I could go to work and be sticking my hand up someone's butt, literally, and like eating a burger.
Right after.
No,
or
during.
same time.
I wouldn't. Yeah. I wouldn't, but I could. I would not, but
really?
I could. Not. It wouldn't gross me out at all.
So when you do,
human to human, there's some smells that, like, if it was just in my relationship, there's some smells that I'm like, I feel like I'm I'm a sniffer. I can sniff it out.
Sorry, my producer Meg said this coffee was crazy, and I took one sip, and I think I'm about to shit myself. She's like, it's gonna be nuts, and I was like, yeah, right. Okay.
I've got you.
Speaking
girl.
of putting your hand in my ass, you might have to cut the shit coming
you.
out. Okay, so let's get into all this because this is the perfect guest for this podcast. Do you realize this? It's all about bodies and whatever and discussing stuff. So you must have seen it all. You've done it all.
Yes.
You always wanted to be a nurse growing up?
No, that was very random. I was mid-20s. My friend was doing it. I didn't know what I was doing, so I went back to school for nursing. Yeah.
Oh,
it was very random, but then I loved it.
Loved it.
Loved it.
So when you're in nursing school, you're learning like what?
Everything. I mean, everything. It's mostly anatomy. You get nursing school, when you're in it, you feel like it's the end of it. Like you feel like it's the only thing that matters. You're usually pretty obsessed with it. It's really, really hard. So it's like your whole encompassing world. That's all you do until it's done. And then you go actually into nursing, and then you realize like, oh my God. And then you really learn.
It's so much crazier.
The first couple of years, I'm telling you, it's wild. Like I had dreams every single night my first 6 months of nursing.
Really?
Yes, it's insane.
Like what were the dreams? Like
mostly like beeping machines.
Okay.
Beeping machines. Like you can't get the medicine you need to get, so you're running around trying to find the medicine, but you can't find it. You can't turn off the machine. It's just a bunch of things that are going wrong.
That's like what waitress jobs I would get those exact same things.
Everything.
Like, they need their wings, and you're like, this person needs their medicine to die. So same thing. So I'm relating to you right now. So they die if they don't get their 10 wings.
I was a waitress too. Waitress and bartender.
Okay. So first year nursing, are you seeing a lot of people dying?
Yeah. Well, in the ICU, we're really trying to get people not to die. So
that's a good answer. Yeah, I'm glad that you're trying to keep these people alive.
People usually still do die though, but we just keep them alive on machines for much longer.
Okay.
And then maybe they won't die with us, but we never really address the underlying factor, which is they have some kind of terminal illness that they're there for anyway, right? So even if we get them out of the ICU, they probably will die.
Okay.
That's
Sorry, guys. Good sound.
I know.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah. And that's where the whole hospice thing came in for me, where I was like, hey, why aren't we addressing this fact that like they're likely going to die probably soon? And if we know that, why aren't we saying that and allowing them to go home and die there?
Yes. Yeah. So that's what your whole thing is, what you're trying to do. This is a nice, you're trying to do this.
Oh, I love it. I was like, Yeah.
That's nice.
That's where that's where my whole like passion for like, okay, well, if that's what I think, then let's move into that career.
Yeah. Okay. So that's.
And then the more I did that, the more I was like, holy shit, our bodies are amazing. Yeah. In the sense of like, yes, they still die, but we have built-in mechanisms to help us do that naturally. It's pretty wild.
So you're now like, these people must be. It's such a different thing for them to like die peacefully at their house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Than being hooked up to these fucking.
And unconscious and not knowing what's happening, right? Yeah. But a lot of people in the ICU do live and make it out of the ICU. It's not everybody.
What was the craziest thing that happened in your first like year of nursing?
My very first day.
Oh
the crazy. God. I know. I was like, you have a nurse preceptor, thank God, who's like following you around for the first 6 months to make sure you don't kill people, because you really would. I mean, not purposely, but and I remember hearing in report that for our first patient had an abdominal window, which I thought, you think you've learned everything in nursing school and you passed the test to like be a nurse. And I remember just like writing down abdominal window and being like, acting like that. I knew what that was. Yeah. I had no idea. So anyway, we get report and then she goes, okay, go assess the patient. Let me know what you think. And I was like, okay. And I went in this patient's room by myself and he was trached, meaning like he had a trach in his throat and on a breathing machine. And I think he's sedated. I don't actually know, but I remember thinking he was sedated. And I like was doing my assessment and I pulled the sheet down and there was this huge like bandage, kind of like window looking thing with a flap of plastic covering it all. And I was like, I went to go see what that was. And I lifted it up and there were his insides, organs, intestines, like everything. Everything was there. And I like jumped almost because I did not understand. But if you think about an abdominal window.
It's saying exactly what it is.
Window, yeah. So
was there like pains in it? Like two like the crisscross pains?
Yeah, like little fake flowers. Yeah. And I went like, oh, like kind of, because I wasn't ready for it. And then I looked up and he was awake and looking at me. And I swear to God, you can't, when someone when you're trached, you can't make noise. You can't like make a voice. You can you can mouth what you're trying to say, and he says, "How does it look?"
I thought he was going to say, fuck you, get the hell off of me.
He said,
how does it look?
How does it look? And to this day, I don't know if he was being sarcastic. Like, I don't know if he was like so.
Because that's hilarious.
He was being sarcastic, like, how's it look?
Yeah, how do my organs
Or
look?
he was being genuine. Like, he didn't laugh afterwards or anything. And it was my first day, and I was so shocked anyway that I didn't have my like normal like. Normally I could be kind of like witty back, or I'd say something cute, or I don't know. But I was just like, looks good.
It's looking, that's such a perfect nurse voice.
Looks good.
Looks good.
It looks
that's
good.
It.
And then I put it down and I put the sheet back up and I was like, I'll be right back.
Oh,
and I, like,
did you
ran out.
Barf when you ran out?
No, I didn't barf, but I was just shocked.
God.
And that was like my first day. And I thought,
that's
what am I gonna
lot
do?
to see on your first day.
What
That's
am I gonna
crazy.
do?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Have
it was
you?
wild.
Oh my God. Okay. I love this. Is my favorite question because I know you guys get this a lot. What's the worst thing someone's ever had put in their ass coming in?
Well, I was in the ICU, so we didn't do a bunch of ass. People in the ER see a bunch of ass
more
stuff.
ass stuff. Yeah. Okay.
So the things that we used to do in people's asses when they would have diarrhea. I don't know if they still do this because it's actually caused a lot of issues, but we used to put tubes in people's butts.
How many
And they're called
tubes?
Flexus. One.
Okay, you said
How many
tubes. I was like, well,
sorry, no.
One tube in the ass.
One
okay.
tube in the ass. And we'd blow it up like a balloon kind of, so there'd be like a balloon to keep it in the ass. And for when they had like really bad diarrhea, to keep them not having skin breakdown. But then what would happen is you'd have them in for too long and then they would get breakdown in their butts.
Oh, God.
I know, this is, yeah. So I don't know if they still do that. That could be an old practice, but we never like found things in people's butts because that's usually an ER thing.
Okay.
But we are putting things in people's butts.
You're putting things. So ICU is more like intensive care. You're seeing like, you must have seen other crazy stuff than minus the window. Like,
Yeah, well, I mean, the whole thing. I worked in Baltimore, Maryland. So I was in the ICU, which is like a surgical ICU. So they were doing really big, huge surgeries, really important surgeries. And then I was in their trauma ICU where there were gunshots and
my God.
tons of gang-related incidents. We had people who both were shot from the same night, different gangs.
oh my God.
With handcuffed, but also intubated and sedated, with police guarding both rooms, just in case anything scary happened with rival gangs. So just like wild.
What's the
people who shot their faces off? I mean,
shot their faces out, trying to kill themselves, and then what's the underover on people dying after getting a gunshot?
What's a what?
Like, what's the underover? Like, what's the statistic kind of people like living through a bullet?
Oh, well,
shot?
it depends on where it goes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you hit some kind of abdominal things can be tough because you can hit like really big vessels down here and bleed out. The liver is really vascular too, so you could really bleed out. So it depends on if you get hit in like your limbs, you could be okay. If you don't hit a big vessel.
Okay.
So hitting a big vessel, especially an artery, you will likely die.
And when someone gets shot, like, do you have to like take the bullet out right away, or is it in there usually for a bit? Like, if they come into the hospital, they leave it in there until you can get surgically remove it.
Yeah, you actually don't even remove it in surgery sometimes. I think they could if they can, but they're not going to go through and try to find bullets and stuff.
Oh, they're not.
No.
They're closing it up. So the bullet, if you get shot, it can just stay in there.
Yeah, it can. Yeah, and a lot of times if it's like superficial, it'll just come out on its own.
It'll just work its way out because it shouldn't be in there. The body's fucked, man.
But yeah, body's wild. The body is
Gunshots
wild.
Scare the fuck out of me. Guns scare the fuck out of me.
Me too.
They should. Why do we have them?
I have shot. So I'm very anti-gun as well. However, I will say I went recently to a shooting range and shot like handguns. It's the most terrifying thing ever because they really are just like, here you go. Like they don't.
There's no
People were
questions.
just walking around with a bunch of guns. Like it was terrifying.
Yeah.
It was
it's
terrifying.
scary as hell. And the when you.
Yes.
Like the kickback is crazy.
Yes,
like you feel your whole body. It's scary. No, I've done a couple of shooting ranges like for comedy festivals. And I'm like, I'm not doing this ever again. I don't need to be holding a gun.
Ever.
Oh my God. What's something that like haunted you from like the ICU? Like something that was the window clearly was something.
Well, the window was more interesting. I mean, there's haunting things where like you see people get well I mean, I don't know. This is so you would see people in the ICU get well. They're supposed to be leaving the ICU, but then they have complications, and then you just see them never make it out. And it's like, because we're trying to get them better, all the things we're doing so we can try to save their life, but it also ends up, they get like necrotic or like black toes because the medication we're putting through their veins to keep their blood pressure up vasoconstricts all their smaller vessels so they don't get blood to their fingers and toes, and then they get black, and then there's just so many so like things like that are you can't unsee it. You can't unsee it. And at one time that person was pretty awake and like hopefully getting out of the ICU, and then they have complications and we'd have to put them back under and then try to get them better again, and then it just...
How do you stay positive in this line of work?
I didn't in the ICU.
I was going to be like, how do ICU nurses go home and doctors go home and act like everything's fine?
I mean, I personally, we can get in. I mean, I was like a raging alcoholic.
I was going to say,
I'm sober now. I'm sober now, but
okay.
At the time, well, you compartmentalize too. I mean, you definitely compartmentalize. You have dark humor. You have other friends that understand. And I drank. I mean, I drank not at work, obviously, but when I wasn't at work, I was.
I mean, how else would you deal with that?
Yeah. And of course, I wasn't thinking like, I'm drinking because of all the things. But like, it definitely helped. When you'd come home, you'd be all stressed. Plus, it's like you have to hurry up all the time. You have to like hurry up and care. But you can't really hurry up and care. You have to quickly do shit.
And would you get like attached to some people, like really connect with some people in the ICU that were there for a long time? And that's like, that would be very fucking hard to. Like...
And those people, the people who I can really remember are the ones that we kept alive for a long time, over and over again, after they're having complication after complication. And I was the one who eventually was like, made the hospital have, our unit have conversations with the family, because I knew we were all talking behind their back, being like, they're gonna die, but we weren't saying that. So then we'd have these meetings, and then the family would be like, okay, let's take them off the machines. And you're kind of happy because that is the right thing. But also it's
how much of what people come in with the ICU is like a random thing, or how much of it was like cancerous, kind of like more well-known?
Yeah, so it usually depends. So if you're going to a surgical ICU, which I did both, surgical ICU usually is like, you're having this surgery and it's a really big surgery, usually from cancer or something.
Okay.
So then you go to a surgical ICU. Then there's like a neuro ICU where it's all like brain and STEM stuff.
Okay.
Or STEM. Spine stuff,
spinal
stuff.
I was like STEM.
And then there's a trauma ICU, and that's when it's like accident stuff. So like ATV accidents, car accidents, gunshots, random fire. It's just July 4th.
Fireworks.
So fireworks. Like
how bad were the July 4th ones? Did you get a lot of those?
That's the ER. And I don't do ICU. I don't do ICU.
You never did
anymore.
ER once?
No, I never did ER. It's like a whole different specialty.
Okay,
you kind of get like stuck in nurse. You don't have to be stuck, but you get like sucked into like certain sections of nursing.
Then you're stuck in those things.
So I never did ER. I always thought I would, but then after doing the ICU for like 9 years, I was like, fuck this.
Yeah, I can't do this.
Done.
So that's how long you were there? 9 years?
Yeah, about 9 years. Yeah.
And when you get into nursing, is the goal the next thing to be a doctor? Like, what are you?
Yeah, that's what I plan on. Not to be a doctor, but to become doing something in anesthesia, where you can that, or like a PA or a nurse practitioner, where you kind of act like, or you kind of are a doctor-ish.
Okay.
You have more responsibility. That was my plan, but then the ICU like killed my soul, literally. I thought I was going to die inside, and I hated nursing, and I was like, I can't fucking do this. I can't believe I lasted 9 years. I was so devastated. It was so devastating. It was so awful. I hated it. So when I moved to California, I did travel nursing just so I could get out here. And then
so what exactly is that?
That was like 12 years ago.
And you're just doing like, you're just going like...
Oh yeah, travel nursing is when you like, they pay you to come for 3 months to work at this hospital.
Okay.
And then if you want to stay, you usually can like re-up and stay here. So that's what I did. I worked here at a place for 3 months and then just kept renewing my contract for like a year.
Okay. Because you liked it here.
Yeah, I liked it here, and they have unions, nursing unions. Rock.
We love that.
And I still hated it, but it was like, well, at least like I get breaks and I can like pee and like eat.
Yeah, that's nice.
During 12 hours.
Yeah, that's good.
And so, but all the while I knew I was going to totally change my career. I wasn't going to be a nurse anymore. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I was going to do something else. Because I was like, I'm going to die. So that's why I didn't go back to school. I'm like, I'm not going to go back to school to do something I freaking hate.
No, you hate this.
Yeah.
So then how did the hospice thing happen? How did you like...
So then I thought maybe I would like hospice, because I knew I didn't like this like quick hurry up. but try to care. And these are really big things, but we're not going to talk about it. So I thought, well, what is the opposite of the ICU is hospice.
Yeah.
So maybe I'd like hospice. So I just tried it. I just like,
So how do you just try
so
hospice?
desperate.
You just go to like a place? Like where are these?
I just applied for hospice nursing jobs, which usually say you need hospice nurse experience because it's really specialized. And I just was like, fuck it, I'm just going to try this. So I just applied, and I think they just need nurses desperately, like everywhere. So even though I had no experience, because I had a bunch of years of nursing experience, they hired me. And then I just tried it. Well, yeah. I mean, it took me a good like year or so to kind of like come down from like the trauma of being in the ICU, I think, honestly.
Yeah. So hospice place is like, in my head, I don't know why I always think hospice is somebody that's already at their house and you just come to their house. Or that's it. That is. So there's no place for hospice people. The hospice means that they are home.
There are some hospice places.
Okay.
So not in I mean, I'm sure there are in Los Angeles. I haven't worked for them, but there are some places where they're like hospice homes where the nurses are there. Right.
That's what I was thinking. Yes.
I don't do that. I'm the nurse that goes into the home.
Okay.
Yeah.
You go into the home with other people there or
and
not.
You educate and you try to. So you educate. You're there intermittently. You're never there for a long period of time. What I love doing now, what I do mostly is admission work. So I'm the first nurse they see, and then I come in and explain what it's going to be like and how we can help them and order all the things and get the home set up. And so I'm there for a while, and then another nurse will come in and be their nurse until they die.
Okay.
Yeah.
Until they die.
Which I have done that too. I've been that nurse too, but this is the role I'm in now.
And so the hospice means that's it.
Usually
that's it. There's no like.
There are certain diseases where you can kind of come on and come off hospice. Those are usually chronic terminal illnesses, like COPD, which is like a lung disease, CHF, which is a heart disease, Alzheimer's, dementia. You can kind of come on and come off, so you don't necessarily die right away. And then there's cancer. Not all cancers, but some cancers. You kind of know you're going to die likely within 6 months. Oh fuck. Once you're on hospice, yeah.
How do those people? Like, how are those people? How's their outlook on stuff? Are they like super negative when they're like knowing they're gonna?
Most people are afraid or like obviously not okay with it, but they eventually get there. Get there. But you do die how you lived. If you're like negative and kind of whatever, like if you're like neurotic and anxious and negative and like already. You're not gonna. You're gonna be like that when you're dying too.
You're not gonna like flip a switch. But I'm dying now. I'm nice.
Yeah, but if you're like, if you have it just depends on your personality. But most people are a pleasure to work with.
Well, that's nice. That's good to hear. How are people's homes? Gross homes?
Yeah, gross. Well, it depends. Not every. I mean, here in LA, because I work all over, you get to see like. The worst of the worst, like a homeless person dying on hospice in Skid Row, and then you get to see people in the hills with servants and shit. Yeah. And you know who sucks? Those people, usually.
Yeah.
I hate to say that, but like, not every rich person's entitled and awful, but...
I would think majority are. Yeah, I mean, like, celebs, people with a lot of money. Those are the ones who don't tip. Yeah. Comedy Store a lot. Guys,
really,
all the big guys don't tip any. Not Bill. Bill's the best. Not Bill Burr. We're not talking about Bill Burr. We're talking about another comedian that I like a lot that apparently does not tip the door guys, which is very upsetting.
Oh, it's so upsetting.
Yeah, I can tell you after. But yeah. So it's stuff like that. It's always the rich people. That's always the way when I was bartending too. The people that were the most well off would leave like the shittiest tips. Yeah. And be some person who I knew didn't have money would be like scrummaging around their wallet. I'm like, it's fine. I know you could barely afford this 10 wings and Diet Coke. You can go leave me $1. I'm not going to say anything. Yeah. But my favorite part of the job is meeting people. And even if sometimes homes are like really gross to be in, but also the people are really great, so it doesn't matter. Sometimes they're really gross and the people suck too, and that's awful. And sometimes. You just meet so many. Very few times have I been afraid. There's been a couple of times where I felt afraid. Yeah, it's like because you just go by yourself and like. Yeah. So it could be some big guy. And you walk in the house and they're just like
Do they follow you around? Are you like, just sit there, I'll be right back? Or are they like, I want to see what you're doing? They're just behind you the whole time?
It depends. Very rarely am I afraid. And if I was truly afraid, I would leave. But like only one, because sometimes people have their houses really dark. So even though it's like during the day, you walk in and it's like pitch black, and then they close the door behind you and you're like, shit. I'm like in this house
I'm
now.
trapped in this house.
Now I'm in this house. Yeah. But work actually gives you a little button and things to like emergency buttons and stuff.
Okay, to be like, hello, I need help here.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Not that would really help in the moment.
Are we talking about like hoarders? Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, hoarders.
Okay.
Yeah, hoarders.
I'm thinking like
just like really, people who are impoverished. So there's like a bunch of people in one house. You still have people who like are mentally unwell, right? So like they can't keep their outsides looking okay because they're not well either. So it just depends. But like, yeah, I mean, I've seen the gamut, girl. And it's in LA, so I've learned LA airily in my mind now. When I think about LA, I can picture it by zip code in my mind. So like you can give me the zip code and I can like know where people are at. I mostly work in South Central and like West LA, so very vastly different. You
got the whole gamut.
Yeah, but I used to work in Northeast LA too, so I've like worked everywhere. It's been crazy.
God, and you love this. So what do you like? What is your mission for? Like, because you like do the stuff on TikTok. Like, what are you trying to tell people? Like, what is your like? Do you have like a thing that you're trying to tell people?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, initially I did not have a mission. Initially, I was like, I didn't know what I was doing, and I just happened to go viral on TikTok. That is honestly how it happened. Like I went on TikTok because of my nieces. And I knew I had a couple things I wanted to say, and I thought I'd just try it. And like my 4th video in, it went viral, and then I was kind of like, oh, well, I guess people care about this. I'm gonna, as I think they should. Yeah. I guess I'll do it. But now I think my mission is just to change the way we look at death and dying.
Okay.
Because we're all going to die. That's for certain.
Yes.
And I think it's really misunderstood, and it's really not talked about. So not talked about. And from what I've seen through other people dying around me all the time, because I'm a hospice nurse, is that the people who are willing to talk about it, who are willing to admit whatever it is they feel, right? Whether it's like, even if it is quote unquote negative, fear or anger or whatever, the better they live and the more peaceful they die.
Okay.
Wow. And people who don't do that, don't.
Yeah. I can't talk about dying too much because I get really I want to get really fucked up. When I was a kid, I used to cry every single night thinking about dying. And my parents would come in, like, I'm talking, it was bad. Like, my parents should have got me therapy when I was a kid. Like, I'm talking, like, hysterics. And they'd come in at, like, midnight, and I'd be like, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. And they'd be like, Like, what do you say to your kid that's sobbing at, like, 6 thinking about dying? Like, it was very scary. And sometimes if I'm home alone and I think about when I'm in bed, I'll just start bawling. Like, it's bizarre. Yeah. And I know it's crazy to like think of like doing that now to this day, but I'm like, I've talked to my therapist about it because I'm like, if the more I think about it, the more I get really fucked up over it. And then like hold my dog, and then like my friend's dog died yesterday, then I thought of my dog dying, then I was holding her and crying, and I was like, this is bizarre.
Can I talk about it? Or
yes,
do you want me to like not talk about it?
No, I want you to talk about it. No.
Well, I mean, like, your thing.
No, please.
Because I'm curious, because sometimes, because I was really little. I was really
you were little once?
Weird as a little kid, I think. But I had like other neurosis, like other things that I kind of obsessed over, right? So do you think it's like anxiety in general? Like, or do you think it's actual death? That's what I'm always curious about. Like, do you think it's actually dying, or do you think it's because you have generalized anxiety, or like something to do?
I think it's a combo of both.
Yeah.
I think I'm definitely anxious. I didn't realize I was. My friends were like, "You're anxious as fuck." I was like,
"Yeah."
I just thought I was.
Join the club, girl.
I thought I was just angry a lot. Like, that's anxiety. Okay. I think it is the actual thought of dying. I think it's the thought of like getting to that point and just no longer being here. It just fucks with you. It's just such a hard thing to get your mind around.
Yes.
To be like, okay, and I know everybody is.
That makes you scared, not knowing.
The not knowing, I think, and I also, the thought of getting really sick fucks me up. Because both of my grandparents on my mom's side died in their houses. Didn't need hospice, just died. They had a heart attack naturally. And then my dad's mom, who just passed away, she was in the hospital, and it was just like a long 2 months of hell of watching her like slowly deteriorate. And I was like, I don't want that. Like, that's... I guess that scares me too, that idea of like going down that road.
Well, what I can tell you there is, one, I think it's all normal. So just so you know, it's like super normal to fear all the things you're fearing. And I have heard people say they've had crippling death anxiety specifically who've watched my videos and do not feel that way anymore.
Oh, really?
Which I don't want to claim to be like, so just that's all you need to do. Like,
follow me on Instagram and you're not going to be scared to die anymore.
HospiceNurseJulie.com. No, I'm just kidding. But you don't have, I mean, that's the one thing I did not set out to do at all is like, help people with death anxiety. I wasn't really even thinking about that, but I get like hundreds of messages from people saying that that's helped them. Learning about it. So I feel like learning about, well, one, so the good news is like our bodies know how to do it. Now, it's different if we're like hit by a bus, obviously. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if we die a natural death, meaning like from a disease, even if it's from a disease, but you're not doing interventions, or the interventions you've taken are now done, you can't do them anymore. Our bodies are literally built to die. They know how to do it physiologically. There's amazing things that happen, just like if you were giving birth, how like our bodies do. I don't like comparing it to birth because birth is really painful and freaks people out, but
but your body knows how to open up
and birth this thing. And our bodies know how to die. Like our calcium levels gradually go up, so we want to sleep all the time. Our body gradually gets less hungry, less thirsty, so we don't have these like hunger and thirst pains. We eventually get into ketosis, which is kind of like the diet, but you're not eating and drinking at all. So it goes into, so it releases like endorphins, so you actually feel euphoric. There's like things that really actually help you die. So dying itself is not actually painful. Like diseases you die from can like mess with you and cause symptoms and all these things. But like the actual process of dying, like not drinking for 2 weeks, people think you will suffer, which is not true. The more you listen to your body and the less you try to force anything, usually the better you feel, and the more peaceful you die. And from watching a bunch of people die, just FYI, it is like watching a birth. I don't know how you, like I've watched births before, and to me, that's like very beautiful, even though I'm not even like obsessed with babies or anything, but just watching like this thing be like, and you're like, oh, it's crying. And you're like, oh, it's like so hard not to like kind of tear up and be like, wow, that's wild. You know, that's a weird thing. That's how it feels when people die.
So the majority of the time, is it just like they just kind of close their eyes and then that's it?
No, it's
like what is it? They get like running around doing some weird shit. What is it?
No, like it's a gradual thing. It usually takes a few days, and people think this actively dying process, which is usually the last few days, people always think their loved one's suffering during that time because they have changes in breathing. They look different. Their eyes are open. Their mouths are open. They're like, they just look. They just look strange. Just like watching someone give birth. You're kind of like, they shouldn't do that.
Why is it ripping like that?
Yeah. Meanwhile, I hate, but that's the only analogy I can think of, but it's not painful. It's not, but I can. So they are doing strange things that look different, and people who are not used to seeing that, which is almost everybody, they automatically assume my loved one is suffering.
So what are some of the strange things?
The changes in breathing mostly. So changes in breathing, they are breathing differently, and people always think my loved one's suffocating, my loved one.
They gasping?
Yeah, because they gasp. I know, Stephanie, I swear it's okay. But do you want to know why that's happening?
No, yes, this is good. I need to talk about
that
this.
That is happening because there are metabolic and physiological changes in the body's chemistry, which makes the person breathe different because the body is slowly shutting down on its own. And then the body does all of it without trying to like have a whole like biology and chemistry and pathophysiology class. But like to explain it easily is that because of that, it makes the body breathe different because there's metabolic changes happening in the body naturally. So it makes them breathe different.
So is it just like, oh my God, grandma?
No, because they look calm. That's the thing. Is people will be like, well, how do you know they're not suffering, right? Like, and it's because you know what it looks like when someone's suffering. When they're, like a baby can't verbally tell you like, I'm hungry or I'm teething, but like they're fussy and they're like extra or whatever. That's like how a dying body is. And the reason it's harder, obviously it's easier for me to say all these things because I'm removed. I don't have the grief. It's not my loved one, right? When it's your mom, it's harder to watch that because you love them so much. So it helps to have someone like me, a third party there, to be like, this is normal, this is normal.
Is fine,
So the breathing scares people, and then they have a death rattle, which is actually called terminal secretions, where their breath sounds a little rattly, like this sounds like, and people always think their loved one's drowning because it sounds a little gurgly. Not happening. It's not coming from the lungs. It's coming from your mouth. And that happens because we create saliva all the time in our mouth. And then our brain unconsciously swallows it all day long, every day, all day. When you're dying, that stops. So your brain's not really telling you to do these automatic things anymore. But you're still creating saliva. So with every breath, that wet breath is going over the saliva and creating this sound.
Okay.
So people think, so it's really benign, but people are like,
that sounds bad.
This is bad.
Yeah, okay.
This is bad. This is
okay.
bad. This is bad.
Well, that's good. Those are good to know.
Yes.
Those are good things.
And then eventually, because you said, well, how does it happen? Do they just close their eyes and die? Eventually, that just keeps you could keep slowing down until the person takes their last breath. And watching many people take their last breath, it's beautiful.
Do they say stuff at the end?
Not usually, because you're not usually conscious. Every once in a while, people will. But they'll say stuff.
Movies,
They can say stuff like a week or so before. Sometimes they say stuff. But
is there anything wild they've said? There's some crazy secret in your whole life, and you're like,
no,
oh my God, no.
I wish people have given me. I wish people have done it. I've only had one guy. This wasn't crazy, but it scared me, in a funny way. Like this one guy, I was in a nursing home, and he like shot up in bed, and grabbed my arm and said, "Baby, I'm dying," and then fell back and then died.
Oh my God.
I know.
That's nuts.
I literally screamed because I thought he was dying. Like, he looked like, I knew he was dying, but like,
baby, I'm dying.
He flipped up in bed and grabbed my arm and goes, "Baby, I'm dying," and then fell back. And I screamed.
The last moment of his life is you going, ah, in this guy's fucking face.
No,
holy shit.
Guy.
So the last breath, okay, so what is the last breath like? It's just like, it's one, like a big one, or is it just like a...
Everyone's different. Everyone's different. Yeah, but it can be. It's usually like you don't know it's their last breath because they're already breathing funny. So they'll take their last breath, and a lot of times people will pause a long time before they take the next breath. So they've already had these long extended periods of not breathing, and then. So you're kind of waiting for them to breathe again because they've already been doing that long extended thing. Oh wow! But then eventually they just don't.
And then do you have to close the eyes a lot, or sometimes they're already closed?
You can try to close them, but they usually won't close because it actually takes muscles to close the eyes. So
if they die with them open, they stay open.
Yep, and usually even before they're dead, their eyes will be open, and they won't be making eye contact with you because their eyes are open because of the muscles all relaxing. Okay. But they're not usually home, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So then you just leave the eyes open.
And the mouth's open too.
Mouth's open. Mm-hmm. I want my eyes closed. I want someone to close my eyes.
We can try.
No, I need someone to close my eyes. I must have somebody close my eyes. How do we do this? I'm gonna make another thing for my sister saying, Jesselyn, you have to fucking close my eyes.
We could probably use like Vaseline or something.
Get some Vaseline in my eyeballs. I must have them closed. I can't having my eyeballs open in a bag. That really upsets me. I don't know why that's the line for me. That is in fact the line. Must have my eyes closed when I die. That's it.
You're like, I had hospice nurse Julie on, and now I'm dying.
Well, yes. I'm literally like, I already have I tried sending something to my parents because I'm so terrified of getting Lou Gehrig's disease.
Yeah, why? Is it running in your family?
My aunt had it, and a comedian in Toronto had it, and it's one of the worst things I've ever seen in my fucking entire life. And I'm like, I don't know how. I want to go. What's it called? Assisted suicide?
Yeah, death with dignity. So you could do that in California, just FYI.
Okay, good. Then I want that. Yeah, because I want that because that's the thing where you're like your body's shut down, but your brain is still fully there.
It's called ALS.
Yeah, ALS. Yes. Mm-hmm. I can't have that. I mustn't
have that.
I can't have
it either.
I've seen 2 people with it now, and seeing it, I know. You can see their fucking eye. It's fucked.
It is fucked.
Yeah,
it is. There is no way around. People always want me to talk about that, and I do my best to talk about it. But there really is just like, I guess the reality is, it's the worst.
It's the worst to get.
It
really
worst.
feels like it's the worst.
If there's anything that I would always want people to do whatever they want to do, obviously, but like that is one disease that if I got it, I'd for sure take the end of life medication. I would not.
No. There's not. You cannot be watching your loved ones and have no way of nothing. Like it's fucking crazy.
It is.
What's the most common thing people ask you then, online? And do you get trolled? Because I feel like that would be crazy if you did, but I feel like you probably do. Or men like, listen to this fucking dumb bitch.
Yeah, trolls? I
had a troll today. Yes. A troll today shared my video and said, someone needs to tell trans penguin to shut the fuck up. And they were following my account. And then I said, fuck you, you piece of shit, why you follow me? And I sent it to the wrong person. But somebody else unfollowed me. And I was like, God damn it, it wasn't for you, you fucking psycho.
It's stuff like that. Like every once in a while, I just get people, or I get like women who will be like, this is not meant to be mean, but sometimes your hair looks bad. Or there's something so weird where you're like, I think you should really wear less makeup or more makeup, or you should try not to. And that is when I want to like lose my shit, to be like, you took time out of your day to comment on how I look when my account. I'm not an influencer. I'm a fucking death and dying educator. You're gonna come in here and tell me my makeup should have been different, or like, what are you talking about? So I do get that once in a while.
Yes.
I get people saying that I kill people. That's for sure.
Oh God. Let's relax. Let's calm it down a bit here.
I know. And if we're really talking about it, you make more money. Well, not me, but hospice makes more money when people don't.
Yeah, we're not trying to kill people here. You're trying to keep them alive. You're just trying to keep them in a nice
comfortable
state.
Yeah.
So what's the most common thing people ask you then online?
They ask me. They usually always want to know if their loved one suffered.
Okay.
So it's really hard. It's hard because people always think like, oh, you should do one-on-one sessions. You should, and I can't, because I feel like I would be not peddling, I don't know if that's a word, but like playing on people's grief. Because most people have a lot of grief when they find me. They usually find me after their loved one has died, and then they want me to tell them that everything was fine, that they didn't do that. And it's like, I can't do that. And then I'm definitely not going to charge people to talk to me, so they can ask me the same question everyone asked me, which is like, did my loved one suffer? When they probably already have had healthcare workers tell them, no, they didn't. But they are in grief, so they want to be like, they just need relief.
Yeah, some relief.
They just need relief. And I would just, and I get it. I just don't want to be the person who's like monopolizing over the fact, because like I'm not going to. And it just, I get so much of that I really can't answer to everyone, you know, and tell everyone. So I just try to make like broad videos about that so they can watch it, hopefully.
Are you making money off your like TikTok and stuff?
I am, Yes. I know.
Am I the only fucking person in social media making no money?
No, I wasn't for very long. So I've been doing this for 2 years. I've been doing this for 2 years, and I really only make money because of YouTube and Facebook. So TikTok, no. I mean, I make brand deals here and there, like, but nothing that I could live off of. But YouTube and Facebook.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get someone to take over social media right now, and the YouTube is, I'm trying to get monetized. I don't know how any of it works. I'm trying here. We're all really trying. It's very confusing.
It's very confusing. And people automatically think I have like 1.3 million on TikTok that you make money. No. You make no. I mean,
no, TikTok's the worst for money.
Yeah, worse. Unless you get brand deals. And it's helped me do really cool things. Like I'm writing a book. I got a really cool book deal. So that was life-changing.
Cool. Oh, when is that coming out?
So that's not coming out until June 2024.
Okay. That's
so who knew it took so long to write a book? But
it takes
I'm in the process of doing that. But
that's
so like
good.
TikTok has brought me really cool things. But as far as like financially on a monthly basis,
you're not gonna. What, do you have an idea for the name for the book yet, or is that'll come after?
I haven't. Well, I know what they want me to call it.
Okay.
My publishers want me to call. Should I say it or no? Think I'm allowed?
No, probably not. Probably not.
Okay.
Like, you're gonna say it off camera, but I'm like,
I know what they want me to say. It's a little cheesy. It's a little cheesy.
Okay.
I have a different title, but
dying's okay.
It's
good.
Yeah.
TikTok is also good.
Just my face on there.
Yeah. Hi, dying's great. Nurse.
Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid. Everyone does. What do you say to people? Like everyone, like, what's your like classic just thing that you're like everyone dies?
I have so many, but if I'm talking to real people, because I'm still a nurse, right? So I love the phrase, everyone has an end of life journey, and then that's how I open. Everyone has an end of life journey. Which is true.
Yeah,
you do. I do. All of us. We're going to have one. And with you specifically right now, it's a little clearer than it was. So let's get a plan. Let me help you, because most people, they're afraid because they don't know what to expect. And I can't tell them every little thing that's going to happen, but I can generally tell them.
Yeah, like
even with specific diseases, like not just me, anyone who works in this field all the time. So even though it sounds like I don't want to hear that, usually when people do hear the journey and what it's going to look like and how we can help them, it usually alleviates a lot of fears, and they do feel better, and maybe not better all the time, right? Emotionally.
Yes.
But it gives them some relief and some control back to know that there really is kind of like steps to it.
Yeah, and that does make it sound better. This conversation has actually really helped me not be as scared for some reason.
Okay.
This is good. And then I leave the second the camera shot, I start bawling my eyes out. I'm like, I'm fine.
Worst story you've ever heard? What's the worst thing you've ever heard? Oh yeah.
Okay, okay, we got a couple minutes left here, and I think I kind of asked this, but I don't know if we fully did. What's like the scary? Like, what's the scariest thing you've seen or heard, read, or like body wise? Yeah, what's like the worst one that sticks with you as someone who's seen so much that it just still somehow irks you?
Okay, probably there's a few things. So
say
one,
them all.
I'm fully afraid, and this is irrational, but I'm fully afraid of surgery and going under. Like, I don't want to be intubated and sedated. I don't. I
Okay.
mean, I will probably have to be sometime in my life.
Yeah.
But I don't like that. The idea of like zero control and someone that's the kind of shit in the ICU. Like, and granted, you don't remember it usually because the medication they give you gives you amnesia, so you don't remember.
Yeah.
But the breathing machine helps you breathe, but on certain settings, it'll make you feel like you can't breathe. So if you have to be fully out. Otherwise, you feel like you can't, you can't breathe, but this thing's
Yeah.
breathing for you. So that's one.
That's
new
one.
new
Okay,
fear
yeah,
unlocked for
okay,
everyone
yeah,
listening.
yeah.
Sorry.
God damn it. Way to add to this.
Yeah, sorry. But that's not hospice.
Okay,
If I'm
okay.
dying, if I get lucky, I feel like if I get lucky enough, that's how I feel. I'll die on hospice.
Okay.
I feel like dying on hospice
Yeah.
is a good way to freaking go.
Yes.
So
Yes.
know that.
No, yeah.
So that makes me feel afraid. And then ALS, that disease makes me feel afraid.
It's really-
it's hard. It's hard, and you really have to get to a place, I think, which I'm not saying it's easy, but you basically have to get to a place where you're like, accept the fact that you need to be sedated.
Yeah.
That's it. Like sedated until you die.
Yeah.
And you can't really do that like months ahead of time, but you can do that a couple weeks ahead of time.
Okay.
You can do palliative sedation until you die. Like, that's
okay.
what I would do if I couldn't take the death with dignity medication.
Yeah.
Because
How long does that take to work the death with dignity stuff?
so the death with dignity to get the medication, you mean?
Or like how long was it? Like you
Oh
take
yeah.
it? Yeah.
So it's amazing. I love it. I've witnessed people take it. So it takes, you drink the medication, and it takes like 3 to 7 minutes to fall asleep.
Oh.
So you fall asleep, so you're fully unconscious.
Yeah.
And then the person will go into the actively dying phase, like that last phase of death, really quickly. So like 3 to 7 minutes, you fall asleep, then they start actively dying, and then usually about 45 minutes.
Oh wow.
But they're like fully unconscious during that time.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. That's
Yeah.
quick too.
Yeah.
Shit.
I would.
And that's where
always
that's only
recommend it.
legal where? I think it's legal in Toronto. I think in Canada.
Well, Canada is much easier. Canada, they
Okay.
actually can do medical aid in dying, where a physician can actually inject you with stuff and then you die. So
Okay,
it's much
yes,
easier and
yes.
quicker, and it's easier to get and all the things.
What does this thing taste like? Like a
So
four? I find
our
it tastes like a
stuff-
4-hour energy drink for some reason. I don't know why. That's what I assume.
It's worse. It's really bad.
It's really bad.
It's really bad, yeah. So ours in the United States, it's usually a powder, and you mix it with like 3 ounces of water,
Okay.
but it tastes really bad, and you have to drink it really quick. You can't just be like, you have to
You
like,
chug it.
yeah, you have to
Like
put
a
it back.
full cup.
No, it's 3 ounces, so
Okay,
it's
so
small.
like a shot. Okay.
Yeah, but they usually try to have you not drink anything after that because they don't want you to have a bunch of liquids, so just in case you vomit. They have you have like a sorbet or something, like something to like
Okay.
kind
Yeah,
of
get
take
rid-
that
okay.
taste away. Yeah, but it tastes bad.
But it's legal here in California.
Legal here, and there's 11 different states in the U.S. I could
Only 11?
only 11. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Come on, let us die. What is this? This is crazy.
It's mostly the West Coast, right? So like Oregon, Washington, California,
Okay.
New Mexico, Jersey is one of them. Vermont's one of them, and Vermont's easiest to get. You don't have to even be live there, I don't think. Now they just passed something where it's like the easiest to get there.
Okay, that's good.
Washington D.C., Hawaii.
Hawaii,
I can't think of
okay,
the other
that's
ones.
gotta
Yeah,
be peaceful down
Yeah, I have videos about it.
Yeah, okay.
People are looking at it.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is great. I've learned so much. Thank you for
Yeah.
coming on the podcast. Where can everybody find you online?
I'm on all social media at Hospice Nurse Julie. And
Really
you
cornered
can,
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you can go to hospicenursejulie.com. I have a website. I'm doing a retreat this fall.
Oh, where's the retreat?
It's in Boone, North Carolina.
Should I
which
come to
is
the
like-
retreat?
You could, girl. Anyone's welcome. It's me and Hospice Nurse Penny. Hospice Nurse Penny, I don't know if she's hilarious. She's
Okay.
also an amazing hospice nurse. And we're at this like incredible, oh God, what's it called? Like Art of Living Institute? I don't know. It looks
Okay.
amazing. In random Boone, North Carolina,
Okay.
they approached us and was like, hey, do you want to use our facilities to have a retreat? And we were like, yeah, let's do
Okay.
it. So we're doing that in the fall.
Oh wow, it's all about like death, this whole stuff. Okay,
yeah,
great.
like kind of
Yeah.
preparing for it, like connecting to everybody about why they're there, grief, just all mostly education and connecting
Yeah.
with other people.
And I'll
it's gonna
do
be
I'll do a
small.
30-minute set at the end.
That's right, because
Hey
death.
guys, my labia it ain't dead yet. Hello. And then they'll be like, please, we are trying to grieve.
Death doesn't have to be sad. Is that where I'm looking?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's all we'll say. And then we'll call you up on stage. And then you'll
And then
do...
I'll come, well, wacky girls here. And I have a clown nose. And they're like, you've never had this clown nose before.
This is why I'm here.
Yes.
Because you are fucking hilarious.
Well, thank you. We're both helping people in very different ways. You
Yes.
much more than I, but I also...
Laughing's important.
Laughing is important.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's it. And then writing a book, but that's not out for a while. So, hey.
But YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter.
No Twitter. I don't know how to use Twitter.
You don't need
Facebook.
to. Facebook. Okay.
Website. Just basically Hospice Nurse Julie, anything and everywhere.
Go follow her, ask her questions, go to the damn retreat. Thank you so much for coming on here. I really appreciate this. This is a very eye-opening episode.
Thank you.
I learned a lot, and I also learned that my eyes must be closed when I die. And I will write this into something today because I'm very upset by it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.